Hi everybody, welcome back to Rational Code, and in this video we are going to be taking a look at the basic mathematical operators in Java and how to perform basic arithmetic operations and how to solve basic math problems. This is very important because, as we know, we use math in everyday life, and it really isn't rocket science when programming. And it is especially important to have a strong background in math when programming, because if you program in a language like C++ that does not have memory management or garbage collector, you need to know how to use math when coding. So let's dive right in. So the first thing we're going to take a look at is addition. And we know in regular math we can have something like 12 plus 3, and we know that equals 14. We know that equals 15 actually. And so in math, when you want to print the result to the screen, you're going to use a print statement like we talked about before. So let's do system.out.println. And we know that this is the basic setup, and that when we want to print text to the screen, we put it in a quotation mark. But when we're going to be solving these basic math problems, we're not going to use quotation marks, and you'll see why in a second. So after you have, don't forget your semicolon on the end, but after you have this typed out, do 12 plus 3. And go ahead and run it, and you will see right down here that the result is 15. And now you may be wondering, well, why don't we put it in quotation marks? So let's put them in and see what happens. So if you were to run this is completely valid still. You would literally get on the screen 12 plus 3. And this is because the quotation marks tell the compiler to output text rather than a result. And so when we're doing our basic math, we do not use our quotation marks. So now let's do subtraction. And we know in regular math we can have 12 minus 4. And we know that equals 8. And so just like the addition right here with the plus sign, we can copy and paste this. And we can do 12 minus the dash 4. Go ahead and run that. And you get 8 right down on the bottom right here. So really this is straightforward math, but then, it'll get way more in depth in the future. So now let's do multiplication. And so when doing multiplication in regular math, you can represent something like 2x for multiplication, 5, which equals 10. Or in algebra, you can do the little dot 5, which also equals 10. This is called an asterisk on a computer. And this is also the symbol that we use for multiplication in Java. And this is because if we were to use the x when we start working with variables and have more complicated problems, the compiler will get confused with, do you mean multiplication or the variable? And it could just be a whole big mess. So the asterisk represents multiplication. So let's paste our print statement and let's input 2 asterisk 5. Go ahead and run that. And just like these right here, you get 10 right down here. So now we have division. And in regular math too, you can do something like 10 slash 2, which equals 5. Or you could do 10 division sign, which kind of looks like the percentage sign. So 10 percentage sign 2, which also equals 5. And so in Java, division is represented with the slash, like a fraction. So go ahead one more time. Go ahead and put that in. Let's do 10 slash 2. Once again, you will get 5 right down here. So now there is actually one more type of operator that isn't really used as much, but it's important to be familiar with, and that is the module. And so what module does is, instead of performing the division problem and returning the result, it's going to only print the remainder. And like I said, this isn't really used as much, but it really is important to know. So you could have something like 12 and 7. Now, module is represented this time with the percentage sign. And so we know if we had 12 divided, let's put that in parentheses right here. We know if we had 12 divided by 7, you would have 1 remainder 5, because 7 goes into 12 one time. But module will only return that 5 as the remainder and not the 1. So we can actually take a look at that right here. Let's copy and paste. Let's put that in our print statement. Let's do 12 percentage sign for module 7, and we will get 5 as our result because 12 divided by 7 is 1 remainder 5. And so these are really the 5 most basic mathematical operators. We will be working with more complicated math problems in the future, but it's good to just have a basic understanding. So go ahead, create a new IntelliJ document, and just play around with this until you get comfortable. And just don't forget, do not use quotation marks, and do not forget to put your semicolon on the end. That's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed.